Welcome back, everybody. We're ready for another video. And today we are actually going back in time just a wee bit to the good old days of Lesney Matchbox. And this is a Lesney Dodge Wreck Truck number 43. I believe it's number 43. I could be wrong. I'm sorry, it's not 43, it's 13. I don't know where I'm getting these numbers from. But yeah, so it's a number 13 Dodge Wreck Truck, BP wrecker. And she's in pretty tough shape. But we're going to do our best. I'm actually doing a couple of different things this time around. I had seen a video, somebody doing restoration work where they said they were a little becoming a little more self-aware of when they were doing restoration work. If they did it like a super identical copy of what the original colors were, things like that, that if they sold the work as a restoration, that maybe somebody would buy it and then maybe put rivets in it that looked original and then try and pass it off as something that was really original. So it just made me start to think. So, I'm all for doing a spot-on restoration. And this time around, I decided to at least make something a little bit different about the paint color, so it wouldn't really match. So when I did the yellow cab color, I didn't do it in this pale original yellow. I made it a little more of a sunflower yellow. Still looks good. Again, it's, once it's been hacked apart and redone, it's not an original. It's not an original toy anymore. So that's where I headed with that. I think I may start leaning on trying to do that more often, just in case. Because I don't know where these things are going to go after I move along from this planet, or if I decide to give them away, or I've actually sold one of these BP wreckers on eBay after a restoration. So I don't know if somebody just bought it for a resto, or that idea is in my head now. Maybe somebody bought it and said, "Hey, I'm just going to put something in there that makes it look like a real rivet," and decide to pass it off as an original. I do not know. I can't say for sure, but it's now something that I'm thinking about. Anyway, I've removed the base and separated the tow hook and did the tapping of the screws ritual, and got 2 screws ready to rock and roll. And don't forget to wear your safety glasses. Now I'm getting ready to remove our wheels, or remove the axles. And I decided to do something different with the wheels this time around as well. So the idea of, I've done these where I've done them in a black wash when they're kind of in a rough state. So I've done the black wash routine, and then put them in the Future Floor Shine. And since I've now become somewhat of a real believer in the appliance enamel paint, I decided that this time around with the wheels, I was just going to clean them off real good and give them a shot of the Krylon appliance enamel. So you'll see me getting them prepped for paint once I clean the axles up. So I decided in this video to try and do it in its entirety outside of the paintwork, and just speed it up. This way you see the entire process, and I keep the video in a manageable, a 20-minute view, or 22-minute view period. Um, so at any point, you'll at least be able to see everything that's gone on in fixing this model. But you'll see it not in real time. I think when I got all the videos pumped into my Adobe Premiere program, it was about 42 minutes in full length. So basically, I cut out about 23 minutes. But you have the entire project in its entirety. You're just looking at it at like between 300 and 350% faster speed. So because I'm not whitewashing, blackwashing, or painting with like acrylic paint, I really, really wanted to get these wheels cleaned off. So in that little bottle is denatured alcohol, and I'm making sure I get any, dust, dirt, finger oils, crud, general crud off of the wheels. This way when I apply the paint will not break loose, flake off. So that's all we're doing here, getting them cleaned up. They were, the tread was actually kind of beat up too, so I didn't think just future shine and a black wash would actually do it. So if you let me go with appliance paint. I mean, I've been swearing by it when I do some of the black bases, the metal bases. I may opt to like actually try shooting a full body in the appliance paint and see how it works. So the appliance enamel has a really, really nice finish, and that's where I headed here. So I cleaned the wheels off, and this is new for me. The first appliance epoxy enamel that I was using was Rust-Oleum, and I got about halfway through the can and the nozzle quit. Stopped shooting paint. So I went out and bought this Krylon enamel epoxy, and that's while they were still wet. You'll see them in the finished piece after assembly. They look really good. So here is the windshield. Has a huge crack in the top. The plastic split into two pieces at the top, and only one piece was still inside the model. So I buffed it first, and now I'm using some wax paper. So I'm going to get some super glue in there and glue that piece in. There's just enough of that piece to hold the light beacon in place. So we got a little super glue gel. I did a test fit. I liked the way it looked. Got a little toothpick, got some gel on the toothpick, got it on the piece, got some on both pieces actually, and used the activator, Bob Smith activator, and set it and cleaned it up, and done. So good to go, ready to go back in. You'll see the actual top in a second, what it looks like. Yeah, so there is a piece missing, but there is enough to hold the beacon in at the top. Just enough. Next case, the beacon. So that just got cleaned off. It was in really good shape. It wasn't scratched, scuffed, chipped. Didn't look like anybody took a bite out of it. So we just cleaned it up and gave it the Future Shine dip. And then we did the same with the, we put it in our little solo cup there to let it dry. And do the same thing now with the windshield. And then wick it off and cover it up, let it dry. really happy with the Future Shine. I'm thinking about maybe investing in some of that gauzy stuff that the other guys are using. But we'll see. I still have a lot of Future Shine left over. I have like 3/4 of a bottle. So now that all that is done, I removed the base and the cab from the paint stripper. Now it's time to go and get the little bits of paint that are stuck in the corners and crevices. So it's a wire wheel and your safety glasses. Don't forget your safety glasses. And basically this is cleanup time. There's a couple of pieces of flashing, casting flash on the cab that I go back through with a couple of files and get that stuff cleaned up too. I have no idea why I'm wearing a glove still. When I do this, I should know better. I've actually been using wire wheels on the Dremel tool, wearing a glove, and the wire wheel, I slipped while I was cleaning out the crevices, and the wire wheel caught the glove and did a nice little twisty job and created a nice blister on one of my fingers. And it's not so bad when the Dremel tool is in your gloved hand, but when it's, I'm a lefty, so there you go. That's not good. And just something that I lost track of. I was maybe in a bit of a rush. So let that be another tip. Safety glasses, don't wear a glove when you're using your Dremel with a wire wheel. So here's me getting some of this flashing. There's a couple of spots inside the windows of the cab. And I just like to clean it out. I mean, come this far, I've stated it in other videos. You're gonna find out that there was something there that you could have taken care of before you painted it, and now your paint either just looks weird or the overall appearance looks weird. So here's just scribing in some of the lines of the grill because there's some residue from the paint stripper left over. And this is something that's pretty unique to these Lesney cars. Most of them from this series, they had a lot of attention to detail. So trying to catch all of that, you just take your time. It's pretty important. So now I painted the base, and now I'm making a mess with some water. I'm doing the decals. These are homemade decals. You can see 2 sets on there. One set is already cut, and the other set is there just in case things don't go so well. So I no longer submerge my decals, any decals. I saw this in somebody's channel, and I've been doing it exclusively for the most part, just placing the backing on a wet paper towel and just letting it soak through enough to remove the decal from the paper, and you're good to go. The base of this, I used a Krylon. I don't remember the exact color, but it's pretty close to the original green color. It's a Krylon enamel in a rattle can. So it's enamel paint. I didn't have to worry about the water from the decal lifting any paint or swirling it around. And one of the big reasons why I try and use enamel paint. I don't care if it's in a hobby bottle and I can throw it through my airbrush, or if it's in a rattle can. If I'm using decals, I try and go just one application of paint rather than an acrylic and then like a satin enamel to cover it just to get decals on and be safe. Just kind of adds another step to the process. So I did this in rattle can enamel, and the cab I shot in a sunflower acrylic. I believe it's Lily's. The brand name is Lily's Art something. I don't recall, but it's an acrylic, so I was able to just prime that. paint it, and then after doing the decal here and letting that set, um, I use the American Automotive urethane clear to do both pieces and give it a really nice shine. You can see that cab is a little bit darker than that pale yellow on the original. So I put the wheels back on using Marty's method. That's where I learned it. Actually, that's where I learned the removal and the replacement. So go to Marty's Matchbox Makeovers and see how that process is done. Might as well send you to the man that he may have been the one that originated it. I don't know. So here's me playing cameraman again during assembly. So all the pieces are here, ready to go. The wheels look great with that Krylon enamel epoxy, and really happy with it. Really, really happy with that. So that'll be something that I use again on some of these original Lesney wheels that are in bad shape. Just really, really, really nice. And here's me fighting with a tube of caulk because the tip dried out a little bit. So, scribe tool to the rescue to puncture that dried up caulk and get some out. I mean, all this work for just a little dab of caulk. Just terrible. So you can see the top of that windshield, and it just looks, it's terrible. But you're not going to see it. I just wish that other piece was there so I had a little more stability. Although there's enough there, I don't know, just makes me feel a little funny. So here's me getting the beacon in, ready to go. And then don't ask me why I tried to apply the caulk this way. And you'll see why in a second when I could have done it the way I actually do it coming up. Hey, easier to go through the window. You know, some days you're the Louisville Slugger, some days you're the Ball. You just can't get it right. But I got there. And even though I got there, I made a little bit of a mess and I had to clean up a little bit of caulk on the actual front of the window. And even after, you'll see it during the final reveal, after the final reveal, when I noticed it again, I said, well, I guess I should take it apart and get the caulk out of, there was just a little booger of caulk that just bothered me. So I took it apart again, got the little booger of caulk out of the way, and now it's fine. I actually got a little fingerprint off the inside of the windshield that I didn't notice while I was reassembling this. So set the window, then reset the window because it wasn't sitting properly. The base went right back on. I didn't have any issues. Sometimes with paint and your clear coats, sometimes they get a little sticky and they don't want to go back together flushly. I don't know if that's a word, but they don't want to go back together and you have to tussle with them a little bit. This went right back together. Got my screws in, got my, that was a replacement hook, tow hook, and got that back in, and she was ready to rock and roll. I was happy because technically this is the third one that I've done, but the first video that I've made. So I have one still in my possession, original color, like a color match, spot on match. And if I let one go, it will be this one because it is not. You may be able to tell if if you're familiar with this model, you can pretty much tell right away that that is not the original yellow. It's just a little deeper. It's like a hazard yellow, or a road paint line yellow. I don't know what they call that. Safety zone yellow. I think it looks good. I actually like it with the darker color. There's a little more pizzazz. And that's all she wrote. She's a done deal, ready for another. I didn't do the background check on this when they came out, but I'm going to estimate it's got to be 50 years or more. So she's got another 50 years of life ahead of her, hopefully. Hopefully somebody will enjoy it, whether I pass it on or sell it. I don't know. There it is. And now we're getting ready for the final reveal. The sexy reveal on the rotisserie. That's it. You can see my little bit of a booger issue on the top of the windshield and my fingerprint on the right side of the windshield, but I did fix that. That's all she wrote. There's actually something missing from this vehicle. I don't know if anybody can tell, but if you know what's missing, I didn't catch it right away. But if you can tell what's missing, leave it in the comments. See if you Sherlock Holmes is out there, know what's going on. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the channel. I hope you enjoyed the restoration. I'm going to see you next time. Keep hitting those likes and subscribing, and I really appreciate everybody watching. So until next time, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Be good.